Do you believe inflation is set to reach the 7% the Reserve Bank governor predicted a few weeks ago?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to rise further over the last half of the year. As you said, the June quarter figures, which came out today, don't include the quite large increases in household electricity and gas costs that took effect at the beginning of the current September quarter. And although petrol prices appear to be on a downward path for now, we know that when the cut in the fuel excise expires at the end of September, all else being equal, petrol prices will probably contribute more to an increase in the CPI in the December quarter. And in the meantime, it would seem that there's a pretty broad range of prices of other things, both discretionary and essential items, that are also going up at a fairly steady pace. So it seems likely that inflation will get to close to, or perhaps a little above, the 7% peak that the Governor of the Reserve Bank and the Secretary of the Treasury have been forecasting in recent weeks. However, there are reasonable grounds for thinking that that may be the peak and that inflation should fall through 2023 unless Vladimir Putin decides to extend and broaden the war in Ukraine in ways that put further upward pressure on the prices of energy and food commodities. There are now some tentative signs from around the world that the supply chain disruptions, which have been one of the causes of higher inflation all around the world, including here in Australia, are now starting to resolve themselves. Container shipping costs, which have been a big part of how those supply chain disruptions have affected prices here in Australia, have come down quite a lot over the last few months, and shortages of some essential materials in manufacturing processes do now seem to be easing a little bit. There's a long way to go before that's reflected in relief from price increases to Australian consumers, but there are at least now some straws in the wind that do give some substance to thoughts that inflation will eventually peak and start to turn around, but I don't think we'll see that during 2022.